Games are a disposable medium, especially single-player games that once consumed rarely offers anything else. This is one of my favorite games, Gothic, developed by Piranha Bytes somewhere around 2001. It's even in Polish, probably the only thing that we claim from Germans after the war. But what makes this game so special? Nothing. The combat is clunky, the dialogues are dry, and the game is from 2001, so the graphics aren't that appealing. But every couple of years, I install this game and I play it, and I have so much fun. For you, that might be any other game. You probably have one, be it Minecraft, Warcraft 3, Diablo 2, or I don't know. Whatever it is, you have it. I bet you. I love video games, and you probably love video games too. That's why you've clicked on this video. But something in recent years changed. Like your love for video games isn't there. You might be playing the game for 20 minutes and then turn it off. Or you might be aimlessly scrolling through your Steam library for no reason, trying to find something to play and then never finding it. I know the feeling. I've been there too. But there is no single reason for why your love for video games might be dwindling, and you probably shouldn't look for one. But here's a few that did for me, and they might resonate with you.
Nostalgia is commonly used to explain why we like older games more than newer games. We associate old games with good old days of coming back from school and indulging ourselves in our hobby without a worry in the world. But I think it's not the only reason, it's also the way the games were built. No microtransactions, complete experience, smaller scope. We stick with what is familiar to us, and gaming as a medium changed so much, we just can't find ourselves in it. Or maybe the gaming was always the same and we just didn't notice. There is a concept called rosy retrospective. It states that we have tendency to recall the past more fondly in the present than how it was actually experienced. Perhaps that's why remakes gain so much popularity. It's the known old games that we used to love, that we're familiar with. We know what we're signing up when we buy them. That too can be a double-edged sword that might put people off from playing it. You technically played it already. There might be a few different details, but the story remains the same. This doesn't apply to remakes, but any game you play. The years of playing games brought the familiarity of content. For example, playing first-person shooters for years might wash down any new experience. If you lock yourself in a single genre, you will find the gameplay repetitive, which leads to boredom with the content. Here is a graph of relativity between challenge and skill. This is not only applicable to gaming, but also to any other hobby or activity you do. Notice that if the skill is too high for challenge provided, the game will feel boring. As Reggie said, the game is meant to be fun, and if it's not, why bother? That being said, having games with higher difficulty entry in the genre causes similar effects. The players who are not skilled fall on the opposite axis, where their anxiety and frustration cause them to drop the game completely. This doesn't deny the reverse, where people might pick easier games for comfort like Stardew Valley, or challenging games with steep learning curve like God Hand. Each year, the scope of the games grows larger and larger. Oftentimes, the time required to finish these games is just too much for us to handle. Collect 100 hidden rocks on a map. Here is a multi-layered quest that takes 5 hours to complete, and it's not even a main quest. You want to get to this town? That will be 10 minutes of walking. You want this NPC to live? Sorry, you picked the wrong dialogue option 10 hours ago. Oh, your game dropped frames? Sorry, the budget didn't include the optimization of the game. We might feel that there is just too much to do to get the complete experience compared to the older games. As we get older, the amount of time we have is reduced, be it due to the responsibilities we now have as adults, chores we must complete that previously our moms tended to do for us, or family that we must now take care of. But time is not the only concern here. It's respect for the time by the developers. Daily quests, time-limited content, time-restricted battle passes, etc. Oftentimes these are designed as time sink combined with the concept known as fear of missing out. Weekly activities and battle passes offer limited rewards which player fears of missing out. In the beginning, these activities might feel fun and incentivize players to play the game. It quickly starts to feel like a chore. The repetition or imposing the way we play the game is discouraging and leads to burnout from the game. Limited content is more associated with multiplayer games. Single player games follow their own time sinks, like question marks on a map. If you don't explore those question marks, you might miss the side story or some unique items. You aren't forced to explore these places, or explore at all, but knowing there are spots that you missed that might hold some significance takes away from the complete experience of the game. By making the games more accessible with set question marks, we also strip the player from the sense of discovery it might bring. If you know where all the X's are, they become more of a checklist to tick off than surprise to discover. Games with open worlds, decision-driven stories, overabundance of activities and skills can sometimes feel like too much for us to handle, which in turn makes us disinterested with the game. It's April 3rd, 2006, and Bethesda Games is about to change gaming history forever. Back then it was seen as a joke. A cosmetic skin costing $2.50 for a single player game nowadays is a standard for almost every AAA production. Loot boxes, battle passes, cosmetics, DLCs, deluxe versions. The introduced commerce of games with microtransactions change how we see games. We might see it as a cash grab or feel like we're missing on complete experience without it. Microtransactions, a lowly priced component of the game that could be purchased once or multiple times to obtain an item, skin or other form of benefit for real-life currency. Often frowned upon by players, especially for single-player games. When we spend €60 for a game, we are expecting a complete experience without the need nor options to spend more funds for the game. At some point a double-edged sword has been forged, an in-game currency. A sword that is sharper on one side than the other. The game implementing the system often allows to earn a small amount of this premium currency, kind of like a free sample. Collect enough and you might be able to get a skin or character or some other reward. You can also buy it for real life currency. This shortcut has its own traps. Once you buy what you want, you're left with some of this premium currency. This is another incentive to spend money again. And some of us are not happy with that. The obfuscation of prices makes it easier to spend premium currency compared to real-life money. These predatory practices pushes some of us away and pull others into dangerous addiction. In today's day and age, games feel less like games and more like elaborate casinos with games as underlying features. The constant push to monetize individual components in games make them more like another product to buy rather than form of entertainment. Where ambition meets industry, passion is poisoned by greed. Something that I discussed with friends was that games are no longer innovative. Once a new trend is discovered, it often follows with tons of copycats with a spin. The easiest example would be Dark Souls. Once it became a success, it followed with new genre of games called Souls-likes. Mechanics, UIs, obfuscated stories, etc. was copied by other studios to cash on the growing popularity of what can be just called action RPGs. Once studio establishes itself, it tends to fall into stagnation, repeatable sequels of their golden years. Obviously it sells, but as I mentioned in Nostalgia Point, how long can you play the same game and still enjoy yourself? Innovation may also bring methods that are not favorable to players. Online-only single-player games, microtransactions, DRM, anti-cheats, each studio having its own launcher where the game can be activated or must be activated despite being available on other platforms. One of my favorites, early access. Ability for smaller developers to mitigate the long time of development by releasing game early with the hope of building capital for further development. It often presents developers with quick feedback on features, allowing to amend it if necessary. These can be a gamble as the game can become a completely different product by the end of the development. In some cases it can be abandoned or rushed to completion, which also strive us from not picking up the game. In current time, stimulation is everywhere. Dopamine, known as happiness chemical or motivation chemical, is something that we produce in abundance. Our brains are wired to do the least amount of effort for maximum amount of satisfaction. Social media and TV series beats video games in terms of effort required to get that shot of sweet dopamine. In 2023, which is around 2 years ago, I had a weird episode where for 2 months straight I played no games. I just thought, this is it. I'm done with games, they just aren't fun anymore. Then I picked a game on and off, played it for a bit and dropped it off. I wasn't finishing games. I endlessly scrolled my Steam library looking for a game to play. Started something, then played it for 10 to 20 minutes and turned it off. I would have episodes where I would run the game and turn YouTube, Twitch, Instagram on and watch that while the game is paused on the main screen. Sounds familiar? It's not like I stopped liking games, I still watch gaming content, I still attempt to play. My brain just found an easier boost of dopamine that required less effort to obtain and it just clicked. I thought, it's not me. It's the environment that I got myself into. I was just overstimulated. The constant boost of social media, YouTube, Twitch, etc. got me so high on dopamine that without even realizing it, I stopped craving what made me happy before. Simply because it wasn't enough compared to those other things that require less effort and got me that shot that I was craving. It obviously doesn't only apply to gaming, and gaming can have similar effect on other activities. Are games nowadays worse than they were 20 years ago? Some of them do, yes. Some of them still trail a new path for innovation, respect players, and provide superb experience. Perhaps some of these points strike home for some of you. And whatever reason you lost your spark for gaming is, I wholeheartedly hope you'll find it again. If not for gaming, then for something else. Feel free to leave a comment of what made you game less and how did you get over it. Stay busy guys, selves out.